In this episode, we'll be discussing the elements of a good screenplay. At the start of a new film, the conception of an idea must first be committed to a screenplay or script, whether that be an original concept or an adaptation of a book. This then will serve as the blueprint of an entire production. Now, let's take a trip back to the past.
Where did screenplay originate? Stage theater used screenplay long before film did, but as film slowly developed and became more prominent, it evolved to extend to both means of entertainment. Over time, however, they changed greatly in format. At the end of the 19th century, short films used a very simple form of screenplay that simply gave an abbreviated synopsis of the plot. The first modern screenplay was that of George Méliès's A Trip to the Moon in 1902. It contained simple sentences and a broad sense of direction of the scenes it described. The film was a breakthrough, becoming one of the first to incorporate special effects creativity that delighted its audiences. The first script that better resembles modern-day scripts was for The Great Train Robbery in 1903, directed by Edwin Porter. With films of longer duration, especially with the increasing popularity of theaters, came more complex screenplays. This played a large role in increasing the popularity of film both as a means of entertainment and as an art.
It's a lot easier to actually write a screenplay than you think it is. It might not be good, but most people talk about writing screenplays but don't actually write them.
You must first learn the rules before you can break them. So now let's get into some formalities. Firstly, you start with a blank page. Now, most likely this is on a computer, but if you prefer things old-fashioned, paper is fine too. A helpful tool is Amazon Screenwriter, which is what we'll be using to demonstrate here. Step 1. Fade in goes in the upper right-hand corner. Step 2. Title. If you don't have one yet, you can come back to this step later, but it is centered at the top of the page. Step 3. Scene heading. This establishes the basic setting. Remember, this goes for any scene. Step 4. Description. Now, when it comes to screenplay, it's best to be as concise as possible. This description shouldn't be too long, only enough to set the time and place. Leave the director room to build off of your blueprint in his or her unique direction. This conciseness also applies for character descriptions. To introduce a character for the first time, their name goes in bold. Now for dialogue, the name of the character speaking is centered on the page. Below this can go parentheticals that might include directions such as the adaptation. Why is the book better than the movie?
I don't know, maybe.
A full page of script in a screenplay comes out to about a minute of screen time. Let's look at a famous book-to-movie adaptation. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix has 766 pages, while the movie has a runtime of 2 hours and 22 minutes. The screenwriters for this movie, although having had to use the book as source material, had to compose their own adapted storyline for the sake of time, money, and a cohesive plot. This means that they had to sacrifice certain aspects of the original story in order to produce the movie. The flow of a movie can be very different from the structure of a book. When a director adapts a script, they want to respect the screenwriter, but also take the material and make it their own. As for actors, a good script can change everything. There are plenty of movies out there that might have had an all-star cast, but just fell flat. Why? A movie will have a difficult time standing on its own if the writing is subpar or unoriginal. However, great writing, paired with great acting, the script should have just enough that the actor has direction for their character, but not too much, because room has to be left for the actor's development of the character, which leads us to our next topic.
A good screenplay can be the key difference between a strong character and a forgettable one. Character and screenplay have a very codependent relationship. Although all of the elements of the filmmaking process are required to achieve a great film, it all starts with screenplay. The writing of a good screenplay is the construction of a door which, once opened, will lead the way to the production of a brilliant film. The importance of a good character is integral to the creation of a successful script. In turn, the writing of a screenplay will affect the creation and development of a good character. The character's personality evolves through the screenplay, and the same can be said vice versa. Quite often, audiences remember films for the characters prevalent in them. If a film is to be successful and therefore include an indelible character, it must have an indelible script, even if the audience doesn't realize it. For example, take Maximus from the film Gladiator, played by Russell Crowe. An iconic character, many associate him with his most famous line in the film.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix Legions, loyal servant to the true emperor, Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
This is a classic example of the integral relationship between screenplay and character, and how they develop one another. Development is yet another key concept when it comes to screenplay and character. When creating a film, allow your character to develop as they are, not as you want them to develop. You want your character to be original. Let the originality come from the character. As the script develops, so will your understanding of the character you've created. In addition to this, the actor has a huge role in developing the character. They are the embodiment of it, and a good actor will know how to develop a character in a way that doesn't require constant guidance from the script writer. Because of this, the script writer should provide some background and important qualities to the character through the script, so as to allow the actor to assume their role and quote-unquote live the character. They will know how the character should speak, what words they should say, how they should walk and behave, etc. Give the actor the flexibility to develop the character in order to produce an original and compelling one. Screenplay is the backbone of every film. Every good film starts with a good screenplay. We hope that we were able to successfully give a broad background of its origins, its importance, its role in adaptation, and its relationship with the development of character. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for future content.